We're ready.
We're ready. Again, Artie Lang and Dan Filato, just the two of us coming at you. And a lot of people on the internet say, oh, I like when it's just Artie and Dan. How about that? Take that, Bosco and Boschetti and Cotton and Bisconti and Matarese and Costello and Prussman and Hussman and Tui Tussman. I love you all. You're brilliantly talented people.
I noticed you left out Juskow, so you won't
Juskow and Huskow.
You won't get criticized your next performance.
No, I love Juskow. I love Juskow. Juskow's it. I wouldn't put him on that list. I think Dave's one of those friends who you basically, if he asks you to do something 4 months ahead of the date you're being asked, and you basically, accidentally nod your head, you don't even realize you're doing it, you've committed to 3 performances. I think I'm committed. I'm locked in for November 15th for The Godfather. And I'm locked in. Here's Juskow. Ready? You want to do a sports show? Me, you, and Lenny. I love Lenny too. Lenny Marcus. Lenny Marcus is a great comic. Guy I know from Comedy Cellar, and hopefully you guys will know him way more one day. He's got a following, but real fucking funny guy, and I love Lenny. And he's also one of these comics you can talk sports with. He's not some guy who doesn't know anything about a secondary. And he wants to do a sports show with Juskow and him on a Sunday. I think like 4 Sundays at the Comedy Cellar or the Village Underground, where we go there Sunday morning and talk, pre-game shit. Like a commitment like the fucking guys on the NFL Today have. You get up, and I got to go there. And I thought it was one show. Like, all right, I'll do it with you one day. I love Lenny. And then my manager calls me next day going, hey, Juskow calls me up, and I got a meeting with some advertisers. You're doing like 4 shows. I'm like, what? What am I doing? I'm doing the whole fucking season of football with Juskow and Lenny. I'm not getting up. And I see Juskow goes, no, I told you. No, you did you tell me? The last God, again, people, I'm sure a lot of you fans can figure this out. I can't watch, I got to tell you something. I'm such an old fart. If the Padres switch pitchers, I can't watch the game anymore. Do you know why? Because the relief pitcher coming in has his hat on sideways. I can't watch it. Straighten your fucking hat. What does that say? Are you in ISIS or something? What does that indicate? Does that mean you hate me? I take it as hostile. I take it as hostility. When CeCe Sabathia, who's a Yankee, how dare you? It's George Steinbrenner's. If the old man was around, not this dickweed Hal Steinbrenner with his sense of humor that makes no sense. Arrogant prick. Yeah, my father built ships. Shut up. He just makes fun of people in the room because they're not rich. Is it going to distract you too much, Dan? I see you looking at it already. The Cubs are up 5-0, and I told Dan he could watch the game. I have to take away the privileges now. I have to, because I can see you're preoccupied.
If Lester loses this game, I'm blaming you.
It's 5-0. Again, Cubs. All right. My God. See, that's why I feel comfortable calling Dan gay. There's no way he's gay. There's no fruit that likes baseball that much. It's very Chicago. And there's nothing more fun than friendly conflict. By the way, I don't mean fruit in a derogatory way. I don't. If anybody at This American Life heard that. I tell you, I don't know if I could be silent about this. Charlie Rose had these 3 guys on from This American Life. Oh, no, 2 guys from it. And I'm not bashing these guys. I'm not, because they're smarter and funnier than me. Whatever.
No, they're not.
Just please let me talk. I don't need your help, because you're going to be very nice, but I don't want to be nice to me. I want to be self-deprecating, so I'm allowed to say other stuff. You understand what I'm doing here?
Okay.
I'm doing this. I'm doing the yin to give the yang, if you know. No. Obviously, these are people that are better than me in every way. These are college-educated people, sons of therapists. My father climbed roofs for a living, which makes me a slob. I get it. Are these people junkies? No. I am. Are these people degenerate gamblers? Did these people bet the Broncos in 1989 against Joe Montana? You know, I had the Broncos in the Super Bowl, January of '90, and of course, it was the '89 season. Do you know I bet I bet the Broncos over the San Francisco 49ers? Do you know the 49ers won that game 55-10? 55-10! Dan, you don't have to be silent about everything. Christ, my God. Kid takes notes a little too well. I mean, you can acknowledge that 55-10.
I only think of one Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, that's because there's only one you can think of. It's like a Phillies fan only thinks of two World Series. You understand what I'm saying? You know, Charlie Rose had them on, and yeah, one of the kids was it was Key or Peel, I don't know which one, but Key and Peel are very successful, and this is the kid Peel, who I think it was Key or Peel, the skinnier one, the one of those Barack Obama, unbelievably talented guy, and obviously very bright kid. He was on Mad TV. You know, I remember I was in a sketch with him. I went back to do the 100th episode, and I did a couple of sketches. One of them was they had a kid who does the Inside the Actor Studio guy, Lipton, and I was the guest, but it was me. It was my career. That's the joke. The joke is basically my career's shitty, and Lipton talks about it. It's a big fat guy who did him on the show. Big fat guy who I think, you know, might take off on Halloween. If you know what I'm saying. He might have a parade to go to on Halloween. Yeah. The nice guy, very talented, and he's a big fat guy. And he did James Lipton, and we rehearsed and everything. And the joke was my career was shit. All the movies I'm in are shit. Not according to the kids who are at Vanity Fair, by the way. Cult classic. That's what they call dirty work. Guess what the next screening is going to be? A little movie called Beer League. 2 cult classics, according to a magazine called Vanity Fair. Ever hear of it? Thank you. But for these writers at around 2005-ish, over at the show, I helped fucking stay on television through a cocaine haze. Through a cocaine haze, and without a Northwestern or Yale drama or Groundlings or Second City TV or UCB education. Through loading orange juice ships at the port, this cokehead somehow had the most popular sketch in the first 5 years of the show. Thank you.
Is that your Ben & Jerry's flavor, cocaine haze?
Yeah,
they're going to name one after you. I know
it should be.
After this podcast.
White ice cream. No, it's Cock and Robin, which we have to get into. Cock and Robin treat.
Ugh.
You look in the store and see Dan's head a bobbing. He's giving the guy head in Cock and Robin. I have a whole litany of. So, you know, again, loading trucks down at the port. Recurring character. So there are these. Charlie Rose is interviewing these guys, and you would think that they were the love children of Richard Pryor, Lily Tomlin, and Lenny Bruce, all fucked, and somehow out of that sperm and jizz and vagina juice, a little puddle of comedic genius sprouted a tree that had 3 fucking apples. And the 3 apples fell into the comedic genius pool, and it was these 3 kids. That's what Charlie Rose was cheating. Now, they're funny guys, I guess. One is a kid I kind of know, Mike Birbiglia. And he's a very smart kid. You know, he's the kind of guy you love to play softball with. You know, this is the guy you love to talk football with. And another one is the Key or Peel. I'm not kidding right now. These guys probably have an IQ north of 140. The way they were talking, they said words. That Key or Peel kid. I can't keep calling him. Is it Key or Peel? Just so I know, it was Key, right? It was
yes,
Key.
Yes.
David Allen Key or Keegan Key. No, it was Peel. Who's not the one who has like the chipmunk cheeks? That's the who also does a great Barack Obama. How do they decide who does Barack Obama? The two of them do like perfect ones. I guess I'll keep calling him Key or Peele. It's I think it's Keegan Island Peele.
Keegan Michael Key.
Key. Oh, it is Key. All right, that's Key. Somebody had a joke that's something you don't, both of their names are something you don't want done to your car. I forgot about that joke. Key or Peele. It's funny. Anyway,
I had his name in my holster of bullets.
Well, stop it. I'm trying to tell the story. And again, I'm giving them shit just because of one line that I had. I can't not address it. As a person who makes a living in comedy, I can't not address this.
As a person of color, I thought you were going to say.
A person of no, it doesn't mean color or anything. It had nothing to do with it. Dan's not making any sense there. But I'm just saying. In this interview, now a lot of people are guilty of being over important about comedy. You know, it's not. You know, they take it and they overdo the explanation of why something's funny and how comedians come from. You know, they do it. You know, some of these condescending people do it with me about how I'm a fuck up in life, which is why I might be funny. It couldn't be that I have a funny mind and I'm smart. That's not in the realm of possibilities. It's just because I'm a huge fuck up, which might be right. I don't know. They might be right. I think that's what Terry Gross came to conclude. I'm giving them a little bit of shit right now because I think even when this kid Key woke up and realized what he said, this one line might be the most obnoxious thing I've ever heard a human being say. All right, and so it's Key or P. It's Key. We figured that out. And Mike Birbiglia, again, who's a guy who turned me on. I know he's good at what he does. Is the first person who told me about Mike Birbiglia is Colin Quinn. Colin, about 10 years ago, I was meeting Colin to go get some dinner, and I love Colin. He's everything to me. He's like a brother. And he told me that he's a funny guy, and I watched his DVD, and he's a great writer, and they were on Charlie Rose, by the way. I'll give it a plug because I do want to see the film because I sort of lived a fraction of this life that's depicted in the movie. It's called I don't know the name of the title. It's called this. I'll get the name of it. It's two of the number two's in it.
Don't think twice.
Don't think twice. I'm gonna go check it out because I did everything when I first got into. It was very intimidating because I didn't go to college. I did improv. I did all in New York City. Not in any of the major groups, but I helped form a group that got kind of far. And then I got Mad TV very, very early on, mostly because I looked like John Belushi. I mean, every sketch group needed that, and I exploited that weakness. Why not? So I left New York to go to L.A. with a massive cocaine problem, and that started out well. I had some issues. But so I do want to check it out because it's got some people I really do like. This kid Chris Gethard is a really funny guy. I talked to him briefly in Montreal, and I told him how much of a fan I was of him. I saw a clip of a show he has. He's in it, and then there's other people who are in that world of improv and whatever, and the Upright Citizens Brigade. And again, in the early '90s, I met those guys, Amy Poehler, the guys like Matt Walsh, who I guess really started it. And they were all very nice people. And Amy Poehler, Jesus, who's funnier than her? It's unbelievable. She really is pretty amazing. And I became friendly with her, and she actually gave me a couple of jobs, voiceover jobs. But she's just, she's brilliant. And that whole original, I didn't realize how big they got. They became, Jesus. They were in Chicago too, right? They had
yes,
where everybody has to go for comedy. But I thought they were just those four people. And it's funny, I was shooting the movie The Bachelor in San Francisco in the fall of 1998, and I was staying at the Park Hyatt, which was right across from the Punchline, great club, that I would play every once in a while to make some money the month I was living there. And I went over there to talk to the manager one day, and they were rehearsing, Amy, and it was well before Amy got on SNL, and Matt Besser, Matt Walsh, and Ian. I apologize for not remembering his last name, but he to me was one of the more brilliant people involved with it. And they were rehearsing to do a show, and I had off from shooting that night, and I went to go see it, and they were so fucking great. The place was, packed, and they destroyed. It's fun to see people are really good at improvisational stuff. It's difficult. There's no gray area. When it hits, it's amazing. But when it bombs, wow, that's hard. And I've been on both ends of the spectrum. It feels like there's no in between. So don't think twice, and I'll go check it out. Birbiglia wrote it and directed it. And again, I kind of know Mike. And again, these are smart people talking about comedy. And I tend to stay out of those conversations because I end up sounding ridiculous. If I try to sound, I guess I know some words that, although that Key or Peele kid, again, I apologize. It's Key. It's Keegan. Key. Right? We decided it's Key?
Yes.
Right, okay. Let me write that down. It's definitely Key. All right, we'll remember that. Car Key. I guess, I think they sound like they went to Ivy League. That kid Key used some words I've never even heard of. Like, I'd go, like, if he said them in Scrabble, I go, I have to challenge that. I'd go, Key, I'm challenging Key. And then I go, what, devacillate is a word? I think he used the word devacillate. I don't know what, I was like, wow. I felt dumb, and I felt dumb around them. They were on television. Okay, but it's Key who ended up saying this obnoxious thing that I have to address. That's the reason for this whole rigmarole. The other guy was a guy named Ira Glass. Now, Ira Glass I had never heard of, but Danny knows of him because This American Life, right?
Yes.
On
NPR.
NPR. And I feel ridiculous because I never really heard of it. I heard of it, but I'm in comedy. I should know this. It's an unbelievably successful show that Birbiglia is on for a while, and this guy, Ira Glass, I guess, produces. And it's a great Dan Filato idea and Harry Shearer idea. I don't know. There's some issues. I'll stay out of it. We have a call to my lawyer. But he seemed like a nice guy. And Danny told me that Ira Glass actually mentioned something about me. I guess he's a Stern fan, and he said something very nice about me when I had my troubles.
Yes.
Right. And so that's nice of him. I do appreciate it. And again, he seemed like a nice guy. They all seem like nice guys. They're involved in this film. Key or Peele is in it, and Birbiglia wrote and directed it, and Ira produced it, and Charlie Rose was falling asleep. Charlie Rose, first time I saw Charlie Rose, 1988, he was interviewing Sam Kinison. My, oh my, has comedy changed. Kinison did not say vacillate. He did not say vacillate. The characters were vacillating! As a matter of fact, he had twin sisters he was fucking. It was a little different. It went from a fat guy coked up with banging two twin strippers and a beret, and who made you guffaw with laughter, to the three guys from Northwestern. And again, they have this film out that I admit I'm dying to see. And then they mention these women's name that, again, like I told you, in the world of improv, I think the best at it, when I think back, we're all women. Like I work with a woman named Mary Birdsong. She shows up every once in a while in character parts, supporting roles. She might be the most talented human being I've ever worked with. And she started out doing improv, and she came into this group that I helped form called Live on Tape, which was helping get me on Mad TV. But we did shows at theaters around Lower Manhattan in the early to mid '90s, and Mary was just a tour de force, man. Oh God, was she talented! Any accent, and in the League of Amy Poehler, like that thing. You feel like they can do anything. Like they're never going to forget a line, and they can always punch it up and make it funnier. So so there's all these women in the movie too that they say are so great, and I feel terrible. I'm 48 years old. I guess I'm out of the loop. I'm 48 years old, but there's all these women in the movie that they say how great they are, and I'm sure they are, and I'd like to see it for that too. So there's Ira, there's Key or Peele, and there's Birbiglia. And I Charlie Rose, thank God, my point is with Charlie Rose, thank God Sam Kinison would yell every once in a while, because even in 1988, Charlie Rose looked like he's about to fall asleep. Like Charlie Rose looks like someone who, if they had the look on their face Charlie Rose always has on their face while you were driving to Chicago from New York, you'd go, Charlie, do we need to pull over?
That's the perfect way to describe it.
No, what do you mean, why? No, Charlie, you're falling asleep. No. No, I'm not asleep. I want to know more about how you got involved with the project. And Kinnison was perfect for him because he would just go, so what's that joke you do? Well, I'd say, if you live where the food is, and so, whoa. But even through that, he looked like a droopy dog. Yeah, if a guy who was driving you long distance had the look Charlie Rose has on his face when he's hosting Good Day America, you'd have to pull over. He's talking to these three guys, and they're talking about the project and everything. And the guy Birbiglia does this thing where he looks at, he says something and he looks at the person he's talking to like they have a very, very deep secret together. That's the look he has on his face. He goes, so you understand. Like, and when he does it to Charlie Rose looks like he's falling asleep. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And Birbiglia's like, hey, you know what we did last night? It looks like there's something inside that you don't know anything about. And the other thing they do is they all worship Judd Apatow, and they should. I mean, he's a guy who really brought improv to the mainstream movies. And I gotta say, having worked with Judd, if I had never worked with Apatow and I heard this show, I'd go, well, maybe they're giving him too much of a compliment. No one can be that sort of laid back in his directing and then still make the quality of work he does. But having shot, most of a season of on an HBO series with Judd, that's exactly how he is. I've never seen someone more improv friendly than Judd Apatow. And he's got this brilliant thing of like, it's very laid back. And if you're halfway decent at improvisation, like the kid Pete Holmes is great at it, who I work with, me and him had different styles, but Judd knew exactly how to use them. And the other actors he used in some episodes, I wasn't there. I know what they can do. And Apatow he has this brilliant thing where it looks sloppy and loose, and he gets all these takes, and clearly from his work, he's able to put it together and do something special, like award-winning stuff. He's that guy. I'm glad that all these guys. Again, I'm not giving these guys. It sounds like I'm giving these guys shit, and if I have no right to, if I was, I'm coming off like an old bitter fart. I'm not. I just have to mention what this kid said. It's that unbelievable. And again, I think maybe I'm helping him because he's a kid who's going to be around a long time. He's going to work forever. Look, I'm not Cock and Robin customer, but he's a good-looking kid. Smart and talented on a level. I think he has the same manager as I used to have. I think his manager is Peter Principato, who you fans know as I've been good all week. I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to get the pick. I think that's his manager. And again, of course, another thing I blew in life. Peter's unbelievably successful, and I'm with Dan in the attic. Oh, I love Dan. So it's so nice to know what they're talking about when they compliment Judd, because they're exactly right. He's that way, and it's a very cool thing he brought to the world of movies and now TV, and I'm happy to be a part of it now, at the age of 48, with possible liver condition. Waiting on some blood work. They're talking about comedy. And again, when it's Charlie Rose, if you're interviewed by Charlie Rose about anything, you go, oh, maybe I am important, and comedy is important, but maybe you tend to go, I can say words like vacillate in a comic because Charlie Rose is talking to me. This is a guy who talks to the segment before they were talking about, the economic policies. Okay. I'll get to the line now. So maybe I'm making. Dan knows the line. Am I overreacting?
No.
Okay.
I can't.
When people, what happens is when you talk about comedy like this, you can fall into a rabbit hole of sounding very pretentious, which for people out there who I used to work with, that means self-important. I just learned it a year ago. And pretentious is another word for basically, if you call someone a pretentious bore, to me, you're being redundant. Hang on a second. I got to take a piss. The name of the ice cream was Cock Robin.
It's coming from the guy who lives in the area where Friendly's is the big ice cream.
Again, that's a horrible. You're not making nobody.
Friendly's is just as bad.
Dan, the word cock is in the title.
See, he turned the Cubs game off, and now it's 5-1. Cubs were 5-0.
I had to vacillate.
I gave a Cubs score during the.
That's great. I'll keep them here. Is it still 5-0?
No, 5-1.
Okay, well, I don't
See,
care.
we turned it off. It's bad karma.
See, it's great. It's good karma for me, though. I love it. You're going to be in those series, dude. It's going to be the Windy City will be very windy in late October at the Friendly Confines. All right, so I'll get to this. I've spent a lot of time here. And again, I am not in any way, I'm not sounding like some bitter asshole. But believe me, I'm jealous you're on Charlie Rose. I'd like to be on Charlie Rose. I've had a couple of books out. So they're talking about how much of an advantage it is to know improvisational comedy and to be an actor. Like to have those two things is great, and why it helps make stuff better and the process of writing and blah blah blah. So this kid Key does have both things. He's an improv guy, and I've been around these people a lot. The cast of Mad TV, there was 8 of us. And, Phil Lamar went to Yale Drama and was a groundling. And Phil was as pro as you got. I mean, Phil created characters. If he was in a sketch of yours, he took it. He always made it better. In the rehearsals, he tried to rewrite it, and he would always make it better. And then never dropped a line, ever. And just was amazing. Mary Shear was another groundling. She was so, like in the Mary Birdsong category, Amy Poehler category, the Mary Shear was that good. And they were both groundlings. There was Second City people there. There was one, I think Brian went to Juilliard. I think, and of course, Nicole Sullivan went to Northwestern with David Schwimmer. If it weren't for David Schwimmer, I think Nicole would have been the funniest. And that, but it's just very, very accomplished people. So I've been around a lot of these people, and they can be dicks. But I wouldn't put these 3 guys. Ira Glass seems like a very, very nice guy, and again, I appreciate some kind words when I stab myself on heroin. And they don't seem like dicks, but I think I'm helping. Key's going to be around a long time, and I'm trying to give him advice. Try not to say this sentence anymore, because it makes you sound like the person. It doesn't make you sound like a funny person. In other words, this kid's funny enough. This kid's so funny, and now he's proving to people he's not funny. A funny person should want to make fun of a person who says what I'm about to say. Unless this is so obnoxious, like our friend Harry Shearer. It sounds like something that a character Harry Shearer or Christopher Guest is playing would say. Like if Christopher Guest or Harry Shearer were playing like a dick who was in comedy, and they were being pretentious and pompous and self-important about comedy, they would say something like this. As a matter of fact, if Shearer or Christopher Guest kind of improvised it, you'd go, "That's too obnoxious." No comedian would ever say that. So again, I'm helping. And believe me, like a lot of other people in this country, you won't hear this podcast. Maybe someone will let Key listen to this one little part. I feel comfortable. It's not going to affect his career in any way, shape, or form. Like the Donald Trump thing, I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue. I could yell every racial slur and molest a kid on the show, and it would not make any news. But so I'm not doing anything that's going to affect. I'm not saying it on the Tonight Show. All right. In discussing to Charlie Rose the fact that he has this double talent of acting and improvisational comedy, here's what Key said. He said, "I feel as if I have this double way of attacking you," or something like this dual talent that's unbelievable. "I feel like I have a master's degree in acting, but I also have a master's degree in improvisational comedy. In other words, I have acting, and here it comes. But I also have this other amazing arrow in my quiver." I swear to God, I spit out the chicken parmesan. Now, if I was sitting at that table, I would have burst into laughter going, "You're kidding." And I would have looked very stupid because he wasn't kidding. I'll repeat it. It's as if... Okay, it's as if I have a master's degree in acting, which, first of all, right there, just that could get you the cover of Douchebag magazine right there. Okay, I have a master's degree in acting, but I also have a master's degree in improvisational comedy. Now, you could stay right there, and Charlie Rose could have moved on if he wasn't sleeping. But here's where a young guy like he takes advantage of Charlie Rose, because he's slow and tired.
He's got to get up in like 3 hours.
Exactly. If a guy like... Would you give a guy who looks like Charlie Rose a morning show? Would you look at Charlie Rose in the interview and go, "Listen, I heard you. You're good, but we can't do it. I mean, you're falling asleep now at 6 p.m. No, I'm fine. No, I just had a big interview with the guys from Don't Think Twice. Or Don't Take It Twice. What's the name of it? The movie. Think It Twice.
Oh, crap.
It's one of those titles you can't remember.
I know. Don't.
Well,
Don't think twice.
Don't Think Twice. Isn't that a... Don't Think Twice. What am I thinking? Don't Think Twice. Don't Think Twice. It's a rock song. All right. So he pivots and he goes, "It's as if I have a degree in comedy. No, a degree in acting. But then I have this other amazing arrow in my quiver." All right, I'm going to explain to you what that is. A quiver, you ever see like Friar Tuck or what Peter Pan, you know, with archery? Archers. They have that thing they keep their arrows in. Like, you know, when they pull the arrow out. Like, is Peter Pan an archer? Who am I thinking of?
Robin Hood.
Robin Hood, thank you.
And Don't Think Twice is a Dylan song, isn't it?
I don't know. I'm not going to give the guy shit. I don't think Dylan should sue him. Yeah. So Robin Hood, exactly. Right. Cock and Robin Hood. I can't wait to get the Cock and Robin. So, right. So that's what he has. That little thing on his back in archery is called a quiver. Now, first of all, you got to know what that is. It's 2016. There's kids, I guess, wanting to get into comedy, watching these guys. And, oh, God, what are the disciples going to look like? What about the kids who aren't funny? These three guys are smart and funny. What about the kids who think they're smart and funny, who are using this language? Can you imagine some kid in the inner city watches this, trying to be funny, and then goes to school at the projects in Chicago and says, "Hey, Mr. Drug Dealer, do you have any other amazing arrows in your quiver?" "I got Vicodin. But then I got this other amazing arrow in my quiver. It's called Heron. I got some brown." Yeah, you don't want to be in that quiver. I went into that quiver. That's Robin Quivers. Again, I thought of Robin when he said it. Robin Hood, Robin Quivers, a lot of very similarities. Yeah. So so that's what it is, guys. I'll explain that to you because it needs explaining. Okay, so that's what when he needs another arrow, he pulls it out. So what Key is telling you is, most people in acting, even comedic acting, in their quiver, have one arrow. One arrow. That's all they have. And it could either be dramatic acting, and they could shoot you with that, or it's improvisational comedy. That's more rare, and they could shoot you with that. What Key is telling you, he has 2 arrows in the quiver. Now, after he uses the first one, I'm just breaking down that line, because it deserves to be broken down. You could do a whole special on that line. Charlie Rose could do 2 hours on that line. Amazing arrow in my quiver. I'm trying to do that right now. Awake. He shoots you with the dramatic thing, all right? And now most people just have that. So if you're in a play or an improvisation, I don't know who's using this against the audience. Who's he shooting? You want to have an ally in the other act. I guess he's saying, I want to out-improvise a guy. Maybe that's what he's saying. Wow, that's terrible. Very selfish. And in improv, they tell you the first thing is you're friends with the other. Don't deny, don't say no, move it along. Blah, blah, fucking blah. Make sure you move along the sketch so the fat guy in it with you can get to the parade. So, okay, now you're shot with that quiver. That arrow. And like, whoa, okay, wow. Key, that was great. Then out of nowhere, whoa, what are you doing? You see him go into the quiver. And you're like, is he faking it? Most people just have one arrow. Maybe he's faking it. Maybe he's itching his back. Maybe he's got an itch on the back of his neck. There's no way he's got a second arrow in his quiver. Nobody has a second arrow in their quiver. I didn't notice one. Most of us don't even have a quiver. We just carry the arrow around in our pocket. We only got one arrow. This guy's got a quiver. And then and then you realize, no, he doesn't have an itch on his back. He's got another fucking arrow. And you go, he's just going to shoot me with more great dramatic acting. It's probably just more of the same thing. It's probably just more of the same thing. And then he shoots you. And you go, whoa. That's not great dramatic acting. That's great improvisational comedy. Motherfucker. This motherfucker had 2 different arrows in that quiver. And then you go, there's no way he's got a third. And then you realize he might have a third, and the third is great musical theater. Some people have a third. And then you get Nathan Lane. Nathan Lane has 3 hours in his quiver.
Barbara Streisand.
That's very rare. No, I don't know.
Singing?
Yeah.
Acting?
No, I don't count singing.
Oh, okay.
Improvisational comedy has to be one of them. Well, if you look at What's Up, Doc.
What's up, Doc?
Yeah, but she said those lines. So Key comes at you, dramatic acting, bam. Another arrow in the quiver. And by the way, he doesn't even say it's not, he goes, he says it's an amazing arrow. An amazing magical arrow. He doesn't even let you decide if it's amazing. He tells you, no, it's amazing. You know what's in my quiver? Heroin. I hit you with some comedy, and I go for my other arrow, and it's just a bunch of drugs. I'm like, where's my quiver? And I realize I pawned my quiver. I don't have a quiver. I sold it for drugs. And that's when Key looks at me and goes, shakes his head. Oh, Artie, how sad. I'll buy another quiver from you if you don't. Do you have a secondary quiver? He's like, sometimes I have a backup quiver. If it gets caught in the radar, forget it. And you're like, Artie, did you forget your quiver? No, you pawned your quiver. And then Key does a very nice thing. He goes to the pawn shop and buys it back for me. I'd like to buy Artie Lang's quiver and everything that was in it. I pawned my quiver. And it was an amazing quiver. He said amazing as if Eric Trump named his arrow. By the way, I saw Key's quiver. I saw the arrow. I saw this other arrow in Key's quiver. It was amazing. He has an amazing arrow in his quiver. He has a second amazing arrow. And it's an improvisational comedy. We went to go see it. It was amazing. He's amazing in the amazing show. He's an amazing improvisator. He's an amazing actor. He has an amazing degree in acting. But then he has this amazing other arrow in his quiver. He has an amazing quiver, an amazing arrow. Who even knew we were wearing quivers? We're going to get the audio. We could do that, right? Of him saying that line.
Oh yeah.
Well, we're going to pause and we'll take our time and get it. I want to play it because I don't want people to think I'm making this up. By the way, this is a very long plug. Go see Don't Think Twice. Because I'm going to go see it. I do want to see it. These guys. I'm just saying, Key, you're a talented motherfucker, more so than I, smarter, and you're already, rocketed past most people's career, including mine. And you did it with a quiver on your back. But you know what? This is an old fuck saying this. There's an old junkie who's done a lot of interviews, been around the game a long time. Don't say that anymore. Don't tell anyone you have a quiver with 2 amazing arrows in it. It's very, very obnoxious. It would make me not want to hire you anymore. And of course, you're African American.
Oh God!
I'm kidding. See, that was my amazing arrow of racism. No, the kid will work forever. I actually don't even take my advice. Say what you want. You're gonna work forever. I'm the one. I'll be working at the car wash Monday. Yeah, I make mistakes. See, I have other hours in my quiver, but they're not amazing. They're insulting. Like, I should have never told that story about our manager. I think telling that story about when he said, I'm going to go ahead and do it, I'm going to get the pancakes. The kid Key and background story from some of the younger people who just subscribed. We have the same manager, and he's heavy set. At the time of this story, he was about 400 pounds. And he made me go to a breakfast meeting for this with this guy from NBC who had an idea for me to do a show. This had to be the year 2000 or something. We go to this breakfast meeting at the Park Meridian here in New York, and the guy was flimsy. He had a parade to go to. He was a nice guy, very nice guy, but he would yell it out. He would go, "What do I know? I'm a gay Jew from Scarsdale." He would say an idea for a joke. "What do I know? I'm a gay Jew from Scarsdale." And to break the ice, it was very silent. And to break the ice of the meeting, my manager, and if you're 400 pounds, there's some things you don't say at a breakfast meeting. He said, to break the ice, "You know what, I've been good all week. I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to get the pancakes." "I've been good all week. I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to get the pancakes." That's almost as bad as, you know what, I have an amazing arrow in my quiver. The amazing arrow is sausage. Yeah, you thought I ate enough, and now I pulled out sausage.
Was it just one order?
It was, pancakes. Yeah. But, no, a lot of sides. I said, my thing is, you were good all week. What does good all week mean? You didn't need a UPS truck? You didn't need an enclosure?
I don't see Keith saying that to him.
Yeah, you didn't need a gorilla? What does good mean? What does that mean? You didn't hunt down a manatee and kill it and eat it raw? You didn't capture a family of gypsies and eat their children? What does good mean? You didn't eat John Goodman? Yeah, so and we have, that's the manager. So, again, Key would be polite and not retell that story. Because that's not an amazing arrow he has in his quiver. That's an arrow, but it's not amazing. It's rude. I have a rude arrow in my quiver. All right, so we're going to play the audio. After we play, how long have I been talking about that? That was a little obnoxious.
42 minutes.
That includes a diabetic piss.
Yeah.
And a Cub score. You know what? I countered that obnoxious with something else obnoxious. Discussing that for 42 minutes was obnoxious. But it's that important to me. It's that important that no one else, unless they're kidding around in comedy, because it's going to hurt comedy, especially with someone who's unbelievably successful and good at it like he is. He's one of the faces of comedy. I'm thinking now, he's hosted, like, I think, the Emmys or something. It's very important that someone especially as important as him never says, unless you're joking, the sentence, "It's like I have another amazing arrow in my quiver." Very important. That's why I spend time on this. I need to take a break anyway because my back hurts from leaning over, laughing, and talking about this. When we come back, we'll play the audio so you realize I'm not crazy, and we'll probably do a full hour on this. I'll discuss Cock and Robin a little bit because the Cock and Robin thing with Dan is the single greatest radio performer. I'm going to try to get an award show called Potties for podcasts, and Dan is he'll host it.
Apparently, some other people are stealing your ideas, or taking my idea. So
what are you talking about?
Here, I'll show you.
Were you required to swim nude in school? We're talking about it. Steve Dahl?
That was today.
Was talking about... oh, no, you're kidding me.
No.
Steve Dahl said?
Yeah, and that was on the promo over the weekend.
So the Steve Dahl show is talking about something. So he's about a month behind us?
Yeah.
I'll keep listening, Steve. Is he on an actual radio station?
Yeah. But I guarantee you we have more listeners.
You know what he should do? He should bring back the bit where he falls through the floor.
In Miami?
Yeah, because I'm not going to steal that one. That's an inadvertent one. That's an amazing hour in his quiver. It's like Steve Dahl has, it's like he has this master's degree in great radio. And then he has this other amazing arrow in his quiver of falling through the floor. When we get back the audio of Key saying the quiver line, so you realize I'm not lying. And Cock and Robin stuff, and then we'll talk about Todd Marinovich.
Robin.
We'll talk about Todd Marinovich for 4 hours. Tom Marinovich, who I think is 28. This poor guy was, the son of, I think, a great Santini type guy, right?
Yeah.
His father was
yeah.
okay, lefty guy, played for the Raiders for about a cup of coffee. Southpaw, threw a couple of passes to Bo Jackson. Couple of nice down and outs, a couple of nice, post patterns in the end zone. Mostly a bust. He was a bust, and a father who was on him. And he looks, I gotta say, I'm seeing a picture of him recently, and he looks like he's an Army guy. He looks like he's an Army family. It's just that he looks like he fought in World War I. This guy was, what year was he a great quarterback?
He was drafted...
He was a Raider, again, in the 90s. But again,
91, right? 90, 91?
Probably 45 years old.
Yeah.
Apparently a crystal meth guy.
He's 47.
Okay, you're younger than me. Crystal meth guy is what we're told, and he looks like it. Because, I have that joke. I go, crystal meth's a good drug if you need to walk to St. Louis. It's a funny joke if you're not in St. Louis. But, that's why that joke gets laughs. Because... This guy, he looks, in the first Superman where Marlon Brando's in the plays, like he's 4 million years old, and he sees Christopher Reeves in the Fortress of Solitude, and Christopher Reeves puts that green crystal in.
Oh, yeah.
Marlon Brando talks.
Yes.
And then at the end, Brando turns old and encrusted.
Right,
yes. He turns into ice. That's what Marinovich looks like. But Brando turns into ice. We'll get into that a little bit, and if there's time, we have to talk about Lou Pearlman. Lou Pearlman is a big fat guy who probably went ahead and got the pancakes. He looks like that's what he did. He looks like he went ahead and got the pancakes. Okay. And I think, what was he a child molester? Was he known as being a child molester?
Well, it says in that story that he was, so...
Right, okay.
Yeah,
he was known, he was a very effeminate, a very effeminate guy. It says here where...
But now that he's dead, you can say, we can speculate.
It says he managed a Cock and Robin.
Oh.
He's the kind of guy who would go to Cock and Robin.
Cock Robin. It's
right.
not Cock and Robin.
Cock Robin. And, sorry for that big mistake. And, a very effeminate fat guy. And what's his claim to fame? He managed and discovered NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys. None of the Backstreet Boys made it because I guess they all have memories of his cock.
Oh, God.
I guess AJ and Dickwad and Fifu and Fafi. They all had to lift up his belly to find his dick. He's like the he's the Roger Ailes of boy bands. Bring me Justin Timberlake. Where's Justin Timberlake? I want my horse and mapper. Bring me Joey Fatone. Bring me Joey Fatone. I'd like Joey Fatone to suck my cock in my enclosure. Here's a picture with him and the guys, and one of the guys has his mouth open. Think about it. The only guy, Lance Bass is kind of famous because he came out and wants to fly to the moon or something, right? Doesn't he? He wants to live on the moon.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
A lot of homophobic guys in Jersey would say fine. I'm not one of them. The only famous guy is Justin Timberlake. And, I guess. Do you think Lou Pearlman fucked Justin Timberlake's face?
Oh,
that's our question, guys. Did Justin Timberlake's mouth get fucked by Lou Pearlman? Probably not. But he probably got arrested before he fucked Justin Timberlake's mouth because he made it. You understand? What other reason would Joey Fatone have for him? Oh, I'm sorry. That's a great thing. Joey Fatone was the fat guy, and his name spells fat one.
I did not know. Really?
Yeah. He was the one fat guy in NSYNC, and his name spells fat one. Fatone. That's unfortunate. Fatone. You're the fat one. Lance Bass changed his real name was Gayon. Gay one. His name was Fagone. Fagone. No. Very sad about the news that Lou Pearlman died. He died in prison. And for a Ponzi scheme, right?
Yes.
And but not molestation.
No.
Those are just accusations.
Yes.
It doesn't say how he died.
No.
I'd say it's from too much. Well, I guess this proves you can have too much black cum in you.
Oh.
Do you know how many times Lou Pearlman was traded for a pack of Newports?
Oh, no.
Do you know how many times? Do you know how many times? I've been to jail. I've been to jail. And if you're effeminate and white, and they ask you why you're in, and you say, because I ripped off a bunch of kids in a boy band. Backstreet set, all right. We're taking a shower all night. Too much stuff. I'm done. Well, after you play the audio key, I'll stop talking about it. Out of respect for Judd. And I'm not giving anybody. I'm not goofing on anybody. I'm just saying, don't ever say that sentence again. It's advice. And Charlie Rose, why don't you pack it in? You know what he needs? My pillow. I can't. There's a great guy on My Pillow. I used to make fun of the guy on the Seals, Flex Seals. The guy who said, "This thing will cost you thousands in repairs. This thing will cost you thousands in repairs." There's a guy on the My Pillow. The My Pillow guy probably spent $2 billion in media. There's two commercials on Fox News: catheters and this guy. He's on all the time. He's on Fox News more than Brett Baer, who has the same hair as Mike Pence. We'll get into that conspiracy theory. But there's a guy on the My Pillow who talks like this. He's one of the guys who talks how great it is. I wake up every day feeling rested. He says the word rested. I wake up every day feeling rested. And when you feel rested, you could go out into the day and you're very alert so you won't get arrested. Even if as a kid you were molested and your molester wasn't tested. For if he was a molester and got you molested. And that's why I say, wake up rested. Now, if you look rested and feel rested, you're going to have a great life. Rested. That's on the guy. Google it. Rested. You want to go to Cock and Robin? Rested. I have this other amazing arrow in my quiver, and that's feeling rested. In my quiver, I feel rested. We'll talk about all that, or maybe I won't get to any of it. Full hour already. Oh, do you realize we've done a normal podcast already? That's what we give you. Back after this. Mary, just go to sleep. You are terrible, Mary.
What the fuck, man?
We're back. We're back. Yeah, so we got the audio of what I was talking about. Again, when you hear the audio, I don't think you'll think I'm overreacting. Right there, I mean, it's even better than I described.
It's gold.
Again, I'm not bashing this guy. I'm giving him help on a very obscure podcast. Like, this is a very, this is almost like I'm talking in my kitchen. And so it's sort of like an older. You don't have to listen to my advice, And I think when I was, the sketch I did with this kid, it's coming back to me now. He was on Mad TV at the time, and it's great because wardrobe can hide that quiver. I didn't notice it. But I play a drunk at a party, and everybody in the cast is sort of in the sketch, and. The guy Michael McDonald is just an aloof prick. Like he's just he's a very talented guy, but what a very condescending asswipe he is. He's one of those guys that he thinks he's smarter than you. He lets you know it. He's a talented guy, and he did that retarded kid in an underwear character. I'm not talking about his talent, but I'm just saying. I mean, I don't think anybody says it to his face. So, and I certainly would if I saw him. Or I guess no one says it out loud. But maybe it'll help him. It should have happened in the 8th grade. Somebody should have told him in the 8th grade. But he's very aloof, very "I'm better than you" type attitude. And quite frankly, no, you're not. So. Fuck off. He's in it, and this quiver guy had the same sort of thing. Same little thing going on. I don't remember him saying hi to me. We're in a sketch together. I think him and Mike McDonald were talking about new quivers they were going to buy at the asshole store. They were going to go to the asshole store shopping for new quivers. And a couple of chicks would never like me in the improv. Even though I fucked I gave a couple of them the worst 4 seconds of their lives. And then Bobby Lee's a great guy. He was very nice, a great guy. And this Ike Birkenholtz guy, who I know has been on Howard a couple of times, he was very nice. He was a nice kid, and Bobby Lee. But again, I'm at the point where, I guess I'll be honest, a couple of people are assholes, because there's assholes. Or maybe they think I'm an asshole, I don't know. But the fat kid who played the James Lipton guy was a good guy, too. So he was in a sketch where, he did act like a little aloof. Now, you tell me if someone, if you heard somebody say this to you, talking about anything, how would you react? This is him talking about comedy on Charlie Rose. So, again, I didn't do it justice. Go ahead, Dan.
The passion and the love and the I don't even know how to explain. I can't even have a word for it. There's an ineffable feeling of camaraderie that doesn't go away. It's like being in the comedic Marine Corps. And it is, and I say Marine Corps in particular because the moniker, the motto Semper Fidelis, it applies to improvisers because we're always faithful to the tenets that were brought to us by Dell and by Viola Spolin.
Do you in the end think of yourself as an actor?
Oh, me, yes. I'm a trained actor, and improvisation. It was like I got 2 master's degrees. I got my master's degree in performance and classical theater, and then another master's degree in comedy from the Second City. Yeah. So, but I think of myself as an actor, but I have this amazing arrow in my quiver, which is this skill set called improvisation.
All right, stop. Stop. Oh my God. That is like the Hiroshima bomb of assholeness. the douchey, the level of douche. It's like an up and down grid of like douche down. Take a breath. Douche down. Listen to what he says in that. He compares comedy to being in a Marine Corps where people still have no legs. Semper Fidelis applies to being in an improv group. Semper Fidelis applies to being in an improv group. Do you hear that, guys, from Benghazi? Everybody who was... are there any survivors of Battle of the Bulge out there? Do you feel... when I watch the first 20 minutes, Dan, of Saving Private Ryan, I say, that's like an improv group. That's it. When you grab your friend's shoulder, thinking he's not going to deny in a scene, and then you look down. When Tom Hanks looks at the guy who's having no legs, it's like when a guy in a scene denies and doesn't move the scene along. Instead of saying yes, he says no. Semper Fidelis. And then Charlie Rose says something like, do you think of yourself as an actor? And then he goes, oh, me? Who else is he talking to? Oh, me? Because in his head, he loves the attention so much. He loves the attention so much. Where he actually has to go, oh, me? Are you talking to me? Yeah, you, the one I've been talking. I'm falling asleep in front of you. Can you see me? I got to get out of here. I got to talk to the guy who's the head of the fucking, the head of the UN. And I got a full hour with Amy Schumer. I got to get out of here. What? Play it again. You have to play it again. Okay. Can you stop it when I say stop? Can you do that? Okay, because he says moniker at some point. Let's. I'm going to stop you at every word I don't understand. Okay. Go ahead.
The passion and
stop. I'm kidding.
Love and the I don't even know how to explain. I can't even have a word for it. There's an ineffable feeling.
Stop. He doesn't have a word for it. Well, yes, he does. That's the problem. The problem is you have a fucking word for it. Ineffable. What's ineffable that mean, Dan?
I have no clue.
I don't either. Okay, go ahead.
Camaraderie that doesn't go away. It's like being in the comedic Marine Corps. and it is. And I say Marine Corps in particular because the moniker, the motto Semper Fidelis, it applies to improvisers because we're always faithful to The tenants.
Stop. Tenants. What does that mean? Like a tenant, like tenants in a house or something?
That's what I would.
You're always faithful. Okay, Semper Fidelis applies to it in this way, because we're always faithful to the tenants. The only way to use the word tenants to me is when you have a building with tenants in it, right?
Yes.
I guess the jokes are tenants, or the other people in the improv group are your tenants, and you're their landlord.
I can't.
All right, well, go ahead.
Brought to us by Dell and by...
Okay, stop right there. Dell. Now, who's you referring to there? Del Close.
Del Close.
All right. Who's Del Close? Explain, Dan. Del Close started Second City, correct?
No, Bernie Salins did, but Del Close was the one that came in and kind of taught them the great improv skills.
So Bernie Sanders started...
Bernie Salins.
Not Bernie Sanders. You listen. You gotta. What you're doing is, I need you to have 2 arrows in your quiver. This is Bernie Sanders. I'm gonna get into politics, but I believe this is Del Close. He's gonna take over. But before I go, I want you to understand that it's an ineffable feeling. You're gonna have an ineffable feeling in the comedic Marine Corps. Now, I'm against violence. But Semper Fidelis, well, you understand you've got to be loyal to your tenants. I'm lapsing into Arturian. Yes, I understand. Do you not have a second arrow in your quiver? He's being deceptive. Do you have a second arrow in your quiver? Do you, in fact, have 1 arrow in your quiver? You know? You're being loyal to your tenants. You're being deceptive. You're not loyal. He's not loyal to his tenants. You guys are crazy. Yeah. Now, do you consider yourself? You have a master's degree in acting. You do. Classical. You're classical. Okay, I understand. You ever sleep with a colored girl? Yeah. Now, do you ever get in a scene with someone who doesn't even have a quiver? You're so much better that they don't have a quiver. You're the only one. Ineffable tenants. He said, I don't even have a word for it. Well, yeah, you do have a word for it. Oh, me? Wait, we're coming up on the oh, me. It's great. So Del Close is a guy who Bernie Salins said, here's my right-hand guy. And was he a junkie?
He's a heroin addict.
Known as a heroin addict.
Yeah, and we had the apartment in the same building.
And
if Del Close were to hear this, he would take a baseball bat and then stab him.
Because he was in withdrawals.
And stab him with his heroin needles.
No, okay.
Let's
calm down.
That's what he would do.
Let's calm down. I'd like him to stand with me. That could be a good thing. I'd like to be staying with him. In other words, you're saying in your obnoxious Chicago way,
yes,
that he wouldn't like it.
He would not like this, no.
Because what? Because it does feel like something someone who speaks like this is who you make fun of in comedy. Do you understand?
I've seen him yank guys like this off the stage, Del.
But here's the thing. I do not want.
He's a talented guy.
He's very talented. He's very funny. I mean, I laughed at a lot of things they do. I didn't watch the show Key and Peele, but again, he was on Mad TV. I think, I was on for a couple of years. He was on longer than me. I think he did a full 5 years on Mad TV. He might be one of those guys that did both, something on SNL and Mad TV as well. His character plays a guy who gets, he's the star of the group. So don't get me wrong. There's a reason he's on Charlie Rose, but look. I've said awful things too. Not on, I say things that are offensive, but in a way, this is more offensive to comedy. Martin Short, he said, "What's the best review that you ever heard of Second City? Like, is there any critic that really got what you do?" And he said, "Yeah, someone said we puncture pomposity." And if you think about those characters like Dave Thomas doing Bob Hope, they get the fucking the pompous ass nature of those guys, and they exploit it. Jerry Lewis. When Martin Short does Jerry Lewis, he always talks about how there's the king of comedy, Jerry, and there's I got anybody crazy, and he says there's the two Jerrys. And the one Jerry is the guy who says, I got an arrow. Jerry Lewis would hear that and go, I got to use that. Because if Jerry Lewis heard Key go, I got an extra arrow, he'd go, oh, this kid is on to something. Who's the colored kid on Charlie Brown? Could you please call him? Because I got to tell you. This is okay. Here's what I heard that Jerry say one time. This is so fucking great. Again, this might be the most obnoxious thing. Let it play out, and then because I want you to hear it again before I go to the Jerry Lewis thing. I'll give you my Dan, try to think. I'm going to give you my 2 moments in television history where a comic was this obnoxious or in this league, and see if you agree. But go ahead, let it play out now.
But do you in the end think of yourself as an actor?
Oh, me, yes. I'm a trained actor in improvisation. It was like I got 2 master's degrees. I got my master's degree in performance and classical theater, and then another master's degree in comedy from the Second City.
Yeah.
So, but I think of myself as an actor, but I have this amazing arrow in my quiver, which is this skill set called improvisation.
Okay, stop it right there. At one point, you hear Charlie Rose go, "Oh yeah," like he's starting to get angry because you might punch a guy in the face if he says something like that. All right. Here's Jerry Lewis was being interviewed by Howard Cosell in the mid '80s. Howard Cosell did this, 4 episodes of him interviewing real famous people, and Jerry Lewis did the show. And it's just him and Howard, no studio audience. And Jerry Lewis starts talking about his relationship with Charlie Chaplin, and Howard Cosell says, "I understand you knew Chaplin." So it's Cosell being obnoxious Cosell, too. Because Cosell had that thing, too.
Right.
Mrs. Jackie Robinson. I understand you knew Chaplin. Can you tell us how that relationship developed? Okay, so now you see Jerry Lewis coming. It's like when someone asked my father to direct the Yankee Stadium. He goes, Howard, I'm glad you asked that question. Like he hadn't been sent the questions earlier that day. Here's what Jerry will be answering. I was eating at Chasen's. That's how he starts it out. I was eating at Chasen's, which is and was, unfortunately, it's been closed. My favorite restaurant in Los Angeles. Just a place that knows how to treat people well. And I was sitting in my usual booth. Quite frankly, the Chasen family told me I could have. Just because they were fans of my pictures. That's the kind of people they were. They said, Mr. Lewis, and I always told him to call me Jerry. That's the kind of respect he had. He said, Mr. Lewis, every time. He said, that's your table. Because he knew I had liked the table. I had been there before. And you told him you enjoyed that table. I did, Howard. What about that table that you like so much? Well, I felt, he said this, I felt it had a combination of 2 things. 2 hours in his quiver. I had a combination of 2 things. One, it was very private on some level. But 2, it also was at a certain space where the fans could see me. Yet I didn't feel attacked. If you understand what I'm talking about. I understand it crystal clear. You wanted to give something back to them. These people, in other words, here's the thing. And I thought about this at the table almost immediately off the top of my head. And several people there, my wife and our dinner partners, the Quarters, said to me, I can't believe you just thought about that off the top of your head. It crystallizes what we're talking about. It's like, I want the people who are the reason I have this table to see me sitting at this table. But I don't want them to think they own me. And that does sum it up. And I couldn't have said it better myself. If I had a month to write an explanation for that, I could not have come up with something. This is on television, this conversation. So I'm at that table. And here's where it gets a little embarrassing. I notice someone who I feel is a fan going up and down me with their eye. And I realize what a beautiful young woman must feel like when being stared at.
Oh.
It's a feeling you might think I'm used to, but not in this way. Because I knew these eyes were more intelligent than the average eye looking at me. He's saying the idiots who usually like me. You felt these eyes were special. Absolutely. And I was about to complain. I was about to ask them to move the gentleman's table because, quite frankly, you understand where I'm coming. I don't want to sound obnoxious, but I'm eating with family. My wife is family. And to me, Fred DeCordova is family. I know Fred DeCordova very well. He is a guy who feels like family. Thank you. Howard, you, in fact, are family. I'd like to think, Jerry, that I'd be welcomed at that table. If you called ahead, certainly. a little giggle, a little giggle. All kidding aside, of course, you're welcome at that table. So I was about to say, can you ask that gentleman to stop staring at me? A woman might say, undressing me with his eyes. And the waiter got a look of awkward red on his face. And I knew he wanted to say something that he was embarrassed to say. And I immediately, like I do with many people, made him feel very comfortable. In my presence, I said, go ahead, son, it's all right. You can talk to me. Well, that's Mr. Chaplin. I said, excuse me. He said, you're right, sir. That is a guy, someone who's a big fan of yours, but you might be a big fan of his. And I was taken aback. And I said, you're talking about Charles Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin. You're talking about The Little Tramp. You're talking about the guy who wrote The Great Dictator. That Charlie Chaplin. That Chaplin. That Mr. Chaplin. And the waiter said, yes. And I almost cried. My wife almost teared up. Freddie DeCordova, I never saw him so drunk. Little ribbon Freddie. And I said, you've got to be kidding me. And he said, he has a message for you. I said, what's that? He said, he'd like to give you a copy of The Great Dictator. Because he knew that was my favorite work of his. But in exchange, he'd like a copy of The Bellboy. And I started to well up, realizing that that was his favorite work of mine. And I said, you tell Mr. Chaplin he has a deal. He came over, and he said, excuse me. After saying hi very briefly, he came back in his car. He had on a reel-to-reel, The Great Dictator. And my hand to God, Howard, he said this to me. He goes, I come here a lot, and I was told you come here a lot. I carry this in my car on the off chance I run into you.
Oh, God.
He goes, and I said to him, I'll have the bellboy message it to you tonight. That night I had a message to bellboy. And I watched The Great Dictator. And I synced it up. I said, when you start to watch the bellboy, tell me. At the exact moment I'd like to start to watch The Great Dictator. And we watched it together, yet apart. And that's how I started my relationship with Charlie Chaplin. Then there's a pause. Cosell looks at camera and goes, back after this. Is that worse than Key saying the hour in the quiver?
But that's Jerry Lewis.
There you go.
That's
the argument.
That's fucking Jerry
And who
Lewis,
else
baby.
is it? Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah.
This is Key. Or Peel. Yeah, that's the argument. Very obnoxious. But it's Jerry Lewis. It's the bellboy. And The Great Dictator. Yeah, so that's the other one involves Arsenio Hall, so I got to take a piss. From the Cubs store.
The game is over. It's a final 5-1 Cubs. The game is over. 5-1 Cubs.
There you go. Give me shit. That's it. It's over. Okay. 2-1. Two ones I thought of. Jerry Lewis and Arsenio Hall. Jerry Lewis is on Arsenio Hall. And Jerry Arsenio Hall's in the process of interviewing him and goes, listen, Mr. Lewis. And he stops him. He goes, don't call me Mr. Lewis. Would you like me to call you Mr. Hall? Pause. Arsenio Hall goes, you've earned it. I haven't. Huge applause. Oh. And Jerry Lewis, instead of saying, you're wrong, goes, thank you. And even Arsenio Hall thought he'd let him say Jerry, but the rest of the time he had to say Mr. Lewis. Okay, the other one is Magic Johnson show. One of the and I wasn't on the Howard Stern show yet, but one of my favorite times eras of the Howard Stern show was the 2 months Magic Johnson had a show because Howard played it back the next morning, the entire show, and critiqued it. And comedy you couldn't do today. The Stern show couldn't do it because it'd be called racist because it was pointing out that Magic Johnson was illiterate doing a talk show. And I have on good information by Barry Sobel. A guy we believe had sex in Dan's hotel room in Paris.
Oh, please.
In Paris.
Oh, God.
He ordered up a little room service. Yeah. And it wasn't steak. Yeah. In Dan's bathroom in Paris.
Oh, good.
One of the craziest trips abroad ever. So, again, Magic Johnson had a talk show for a little while. And I was living in L.A., and the billboards for it were Magic's face with a big big laugh on his face. And it said, Magic Johnson show, the Magic Show, 60 smiles an hour. Very clever. Better than any joke in the monologue. Ving Rhames is on the show. You know him, the Marcella from Pulp Fiction. And then every other part for a big black guy the next 10 years in the movie. The guy who gave his award for playing Don King on an HBO show, he gave his Golden Globe award during the speech to Jack Lemmon. And Jack Lemmon is the first guy, first old elderly white man being given something by a black guy who looked scared. The black guy was giving him something, and he looked scared. A moment that proves Ving Rhames is batshit crazy. So here it is on the talk show. Magic Johnson goes, I've told the story before, but it's worth repeating. I get a lot of new subscribers. Someone in Montana just signed up. We're very happy. I think it was David Letterman or his wife. Here's what he says. Magic Johnson goes, you're an actor, and actors play a lot of roles. Now, what role, of all the roles you could have as an actor, what role would you want to have like as a role? Like a big role, like a role that is the kind of role that makes a career. Like the kind of role like De Niro in the Godfather role. Like a role, a real, like a role you could buy into. Not like a role, but a role that's really like important. Like, what's an important role? I'm not kidding. He said role. Ving Rhames pauses and goes, I'd like to play Jesus Christ. The whole crowd goes, "Ah!" Very African-American crowd. "Ah!" Okay, that dies down, and Magic Johnson goes with a big smile, now that's a role. Now that's a role. He had about 2 days to rehearse that and think of a response. He said 2 days. You know what? If Ving Rhames had any fucking humor, he'd go, I'd like to play Esther Roll. Because they look alike. I like to play the mother in Good Time. All right, again, I repeated those. The only one, the Chaplin thing, the other ones don't come close to the key. The Chaplin thing, maybe, but Danny's right. It wins because it's not as obnoxious because it's two guys who are that obnoxious. I mean, have a reason to be. Key's done very well, but come on. Not yet. Give him a few years. Give him a few years of a few more roles I can don't think twice. Which, by the way, again, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I'll go see the film. And you know what? I'm plugging it. It looks good. You should support the film. These are talented guys. I'm giving him advice. Do you understand? I went off on a rant about him and McDonald at Mad TV, but quite frankly, they hurt me. They hurt my quiver. I just want to be in your gang, guys. I just want to be included in your club. Can I be invited to your party? I had to go to Northwestern. My parents weren't therapists. I don't have a quiver. No Second City. No UCB for me. No.
No Boy Scout archery badge.
No archery badge. Nothing. Nothing, guys. I just want to be invited into your world. I wasn't at Second City. I don't know what vacillate means. I'm not affable. I don't know. I honestly, Key, do not know how Semper Fi applies to an improv group. I don't know how the same values where men die for other men and eventually risk their lives to kill Bin Laden applies to an improv group in Missouri. I just don't know. I'm trying to know, but I don't. But I'm helping you because I've stuck around. I should have been dead or out of this business a long time ago. And this monologue might get me thrown out of this business because people who talk like this are running this business. Thank God for podcasts like this. Otherwise, me and Anthony Cumia would be in a car wash. We'd have Anthony and Artie's car wash. Two funny guys who can be offensive. We'll wash your Buick. The other hour in our quiver is we have a power wash machine. I want to be in it, but I'm not. That's going to be your whole podcast tonight. I wasted all my energy. It's an hour, right?
Yes, yeah.
We're going to call this.
Oh, no Todd Marinovich?
No, that's all coming. Save the Todd Marinovich picture because I'm actually tired from this. We blew it on this. I blew the load. I blew my comedic load. Semper Fi. We're going to call this either Semper Fi or Arrow in my quiver. That's what I wanted to say. Artie Quitter Podcast, Arrow in our quiver. All right? And Dan is my other arrow, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Okay? Thank you. Just when you thought I'm giving you the best possible show, I have another arrow. Another amazing arrow in my quiver. Dan Filato. Then they start saying, what other great comedic legendary performers of your generation do come out of improv? And they start going, well, there's Riggle. There's... These guys are talking like they're all the first cast of Saturday Night Live. Calm the fuck down, guys. Let's slow it down. All right, we're gonna play that one more time, and then we're gonna say goodnight. Then what do we have coming up? The rest of the week, we Thursday or Friday we have. Who's coming in Friday? We just booked them. Jackie the Joke Man.
Who's coming in Friday?
No, later in the week. I'm not sure what day. Later in the week, Jackie the Joke Man Martling is going to be here. He's been here a couple times before. The fans love it, and he's hilarious. We're probably going on vacation the week after this, so we're going to pack in a bunch of shows, whatever we can. And if we don't pack in a bunch this week, we'll pack in a few, and then I promise you we'll do one, maybe two over the vacation. We always give you that. I actually feel guilty when we don't do 7 hours a fucking day because I love you all for paying for this. But I blew my load on this one. Anything else? We got Mario Bosco, I'm sure will be in. We'll try to get Buschetti in here. Your prayers and good thoughts work, guys. I want to thank you, by the way, publicly. My mother is doing much better. She feels great. She called me a fat asshole today.
Oh, no.
So she's back.
Oh, no.
She goes, I thought you were going to be another arrow on my quiver. I thought you were another arrow in my vagina.
Oh.
But Todd Marinovich, we'll get to you, pal. You know what? Can we go out with any Cock and Robin songs? Any songs come in?
Yeah, Vinny did one.
Okay, Vinny Monroy. I'm gonna play this blind. I'm gonna play the Vinny Monroy song right into Key saying that again, and we'll end it like that. All right.
All right.
And then we'll see you probably tomorrow. Love you guys. Take care, brush you.
Retweedly-deedly-dee. Retweedly-deedly-dee. Retweet. I'm fucking with the hot chops all day long, sucking and slobbering on thick tongue. All of the bottoms on my street, suck all the cream right from the meat. Cock and Robin, tweet, a Cock and Robin, tweet. Alright, Cock and Robin, I'm really getting cream tonight.
There's another arrow in our quiver.
I'm gonna swallow every dick I see, every little fag at my jamboree. It's gonna make me howl, the big gay tease, slapping his dick. I'm gonna fuck Rick Steves, Cock and Robin. tweet, Cock and Robin, retweet. I can't believe I said Cock and Robin right in front of Artie. Retweet. Okay,
Brilliant.
now I'm just asking for it. Subscribe. Artie Lang, Artie Quitter Podcast. ArtieQuitter.com.
He throws plugs in there. Then he's looking to get on the payroll. Good stuff, Ben. That's very good stuff.
The passion and the love and the I don't even know how to explain. I can't even have a word for it. There's an ineffable feeling of camaraderie that doesn't go away. It's like being in the comedic Marine Corps. And it is. And I say Marine Corps in particular because the moniker, the motto, Semper Fidelis, it applies to improvisers because we're always faithful to the tenets that were brought to us by Dell and by Viola
But do you in the end think of yourself as an actor?
Oh, me, yes. I'm a trained actor and improvisation. It was like I got 2 master's degrees. I got my master's degree in performance and classical theater.